Thank you for joining us today on Pack 14 for Prepare Wicomico, where we share information about emergency preparedness in Wicomico County. Today we have our Parkersburg Fire Chief Eric Tyler, joining us, and we're going to talk about pulse points. Eric, thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to join us today.
Certainly, David. Thank you.
And we've talked about pulse point in some previous shows, and that's the alerting system that you can download on your phone and get information mainly about CPR alerts, and you can perform CPR. So Eric, you've had some experience and used it in your professional job in Anne Arundel County. So can you give us some examples of how maybe you've seen that work before?
Actually, I've never received a CPR alert yet.
Okay.
And traveled throughout Anne Arundel County, Prince George's County, Sussex County, Delaware. Haven't got the CPR alert, but I do receive other alerts for motor vehicle collisions, structure fires, stuff like that.
Okay. And in Wicomico County, just tell us a little bit about what the chiefs thought about and why they thought it'd be beneficial to Wicomico County.
The biggest benefit to Pulse Point is getting the early notification of somebody in need of CPR. The way of doing that, in today's technology, everybody's got smartphones, the app exists, and we looked into it and felt that it would be a positive thing for the citizens of Wicomico County, especially in the rural areas, where coming from the fire station, you have a longer travel time to get to the scene. Somebody who knows CPR may be close by, much closer than what we would be, to be able to start that life-saving measure.
Well, it sounds like a lot of thought was put into it by the fire chiefs, and we appreciate the county executive and the emergency services. Everybody worked together on this project. Sounds like it's going to be very successful here in Wicomico County. So what we want to do, take this opportunity to show you a video of what your pulse point CPR alert would look like.
If you have opted in to receive CPR needed notifications and a cardiac arrest is reported in a public place nearby, you will receive an alert that looks like this. It will include an address and a business or location name if known. This is the sound that will accompany the notification. Tapping the message will display a live map showing your location, the reported address of the cardiac arrest victim, and any nearby AEDs. This is a dynamic map view that will continue to update your location as you move towards the victim or AED. This map can be panned and zoomed. The address and AED location description also appear as text at the bottom of the screen. A CPR how-to button provides chest compression only instructions along with a metronome to assist you in maintaining a proper compression cadence. The next time you load the app after the incident, we'll present you with a responder survey that allows us to learn about your actions. If you were activated, please take a minute to share your experience with us. Your feedback remains anonymous unless you choose to share your contact information with the foundation.
Now you've had an opportunity to see on your cell phone what your CPR alert would look like when you receive it for any county, but here in Wicomico County. So let's continue our conversation with Chief Tyler, who's taking the time to join us today, and learn some more about CPR and AEDs. So in the community, we also have AEDs. So let's explain to the viewers what an AED is.
An AED, also automatic external defibrillator, is a device used to deliver defibrillation, which is a shock to the heart when somebody's in cardiac arrest. AEDs are available for layperson use. They're in a lot of facilities. I know the colleges have them, lots of doctors' offices, stadium, malls, even private industry. A lot of businesses have them as well. And once everything's up to date with the app, those locations for those AEDs will be included with that. So when the person receives the alert, they'll also get notification if there's an AED close by, so they can retrieve one of those as well.
Well, that's great information. So that's additional things that people can use the pulse point for. And we always encourage people to try to learn CPR. And now the trend is more toward hands-only CPR. Is that correct?
Yeah, so like you said, a lot of people are reluctant to learn CPR because of the fear of having to do mouth-to-mouth on someone. So the trend is going to hands-only, where you're not doing the breathing part, you're just doing the chest compressions. Getting the heart beating, which by doing the compressions, you're essentially making the heart beat, is the most important thing to get the blood flow with little interruption in that. So you want to do around the chest compressions for about 2 minutes, and then once that 2-minute period is up, you'll check for a pulse, and then you'll jump right back on with the compressions if there's still not a pulse. And by that pulse check, it's very important to have that be very short, within a couple seconds, confirm it, and then continue the compressions. and early CPR is the most important thing. The sooner you get it started, the better.
And that's the reason we have Pulse Point here in Wicomico County. As Chief Tyler has said, is to give you, the public, early notification that someone in your area needs assistance. CPR is needed. AEDs are available. They're going to be mapped in the system. So when Pulse Point's activated, it will show you your nearest AED, and it will also give you directions for CPR. So we certainly want to thank Chief Tyler again, taking his time out. And in our community, we have a lot of volunteer fire companies, and he's the chief at Parkersburg Volunteer Fire Company, and we appreciate him taking his time to join us today.
Thank you, David. Appreciate you having us and bringing out the information about this very important app to deliver the highest quality service we can to the citizens of Wicomico County.
Thank you. So again, just to remind you, go to pulsepoint.org and download the app. Get your Pulse Point app today and save a life here in Wicomico County. Welcome back to Prepare Wicomico here on PAC 14. Now joining us today, we have Director of Emergency Services, David Shipley. Thank you for taking time out of your schedule to join us today to talk about hurricane preparedness and what's coming up for the summer season.
Yes, it's always a pleasure to come down and share information.
And so, as we said, we're going to talk about the hurricane season. So let's let the viewers know when hurricane season and what you've heard so far about some forecasts.
This is a good time for us to be talking about it because hurricane season starts on June the 1st and runs through November the 30th. So this is a good time to start a discussion with our public and even our government officials about preparing for it. Okay, there's been some preliminary forecasts regarding the upcoming hurricane season. It's not going to be as bad as last year. But again, remember, that's only a forecast. It's only a kind of a guess that our meteorologists make. We're going to have less named storms and we're going to have less hurricanes.
So I think we're going from 13 to 15 and 7 to 10 with named and non-named hurricanes, major hurricanes and named.
Yes, and to tell you again, the only problem is it only takes one to visit us, and that's why we're here today to talk about that.
Exactly, and that brings us into another nice topic that we want to talk about. It only takes one, and we want to let the community know and remind them, because we've talked before briefly about the newest thing in Maryland and to Wicomico County is the Know Your Zone.
Yes, Know Your Zone is where any resident can go in Wicomico County to find out if, in fact, they are in a potential evacuation zone. We evacuate basically for storm surge and tidal flooding. If you want to determine whether you're in an evacuation zone, which would mean you live along the Wicomico or Nanticoke rivers, you can go to our website, www.wicomicocounty.org/ES. You'll go there and you're going to see a prompt that says Know Your Zone. If you click on that, you'll be able to check one of 3 ways to find out if you are in an evacuation zone, and it'll in fact tell you if you're not. There's an interactive site where you can type in your address, and it'll take you to another site where it will actually tell you whether you are or not in the zone.
And we have in Wicomico County an A, B, and C zone. And let's just explain a little bit about that works in that order. And that's what the citizens need to look forward to know, because that's how you're going to put it out to the public, is A, B, or C. Correct?
That's correct. We would put out, say, for example, it's A, B, C. We would put out we're evacuating zone A. So you would go in, like I said, and follow the prompts and directions, and if it would tell you if you were in zone A. And again, those are the people that live along the Wicomico and Nanticoke, and it would be basically the reason for the evacuation would be storm surge, and that is numbers of feet above high tide.
Okay, well, we'll take this opportunity, since David talked about the Know Your Zone, and we'll give you a little example and show you how you would look on our website for the Know Your Zone here in Wicomico County, and determine whether you're in A, B, and C, or as David said, we also have in our functionality that you're not in a zone.
This is Russ Strickland, Executive Director of the Maryland Emergency Management Agency.
And I am David Shipley, Director of the Wicomico County Department of Emergency Services. Hurricane season is well underway. We are here to ask you, do you know your zone?
During this hurricane season, we want all Marylanders and visitors to know their hurricane evacuation zone before an emergency hits.
The National Weather Service predicts that Maryland could be affected by 2 major storms. But regardless of the forecast, it only takes one storm to change your life.
That's why it's so important to know your hurricane evacuation zone and to make sure your family, neighbors, and co-workers know their zones as well.
There are 19 jurisdictions in Maryland, including Wicomico County, who have evacuation zones. Please help prepare your family and community today. Find out if you are in, near, or traveling to one of these zones at knowyourzonemd.com.
Don't wait for the storm. knowyourzonemd.com.
It's as easy as ABC.
Now we've shown you how to look up your Know Your Zone ABC here in Wicomico County. So we've looked up Know Your Zone, you know your zone. Now you're going to listen to the media and know what to do next. So we need to talk about evacuation and knowing your local evacuation procedures.
Yes, as we monitor the storm as it gets closer, we will make determinations based upon the forecast whether it would be Zone A, B, or C. What we would do is put out a notification under a declaration of emergency that the county executive would do, and we would notify those people that are in those evacuation areas that we're recommending that they do evacuate. And normally they would go to friends and families. That's what we would recommend first if you're leaving those areas. The next places that we would recommend that you go would be to motels and hotels. And believe it or not, people will go to their own private businesses out of the evacuation zones rather than go to what we would consider to be the shelter of last resort, which is a public shelter.
And as you said, that last resort, that's our shelters here in Wicomico County. We really want the people to do those other three things.
Yes, anecdotally, under Irene, we only had about 86% of the people that came to our shelter that was open were from Wicomico County, and the vast majority of those would have been from those evacuation areas.
And we do a lot of planning here in Wicomico for the shelters. What should the people bring when they come to the shelter?
Several of the items they should bring, and I want to make one thing very clear too, we have pet accommodating shelters. There is no reason for you not to come to our shelter that is set up if you have a pet. Please come there. And before I talk about what you should bring, if you're bringing a pet, we would like you to bring their shot records, if you have a crate, and food for them, okay? And any other toys or anything that they may have, because we'll allow you to assist out in taking care of them along with the Humane Society folks that would be there. Some of the things that you should bring would be a sleeping bag, a pillow, extra medications, extra eyeglasses, those kinds of things as far as the adults are concerned.
Well, that's great. Sounds like we're very proactive here in Wicomico County. We've got pet sheltering, and we're letting people know what to bring. So that's great news for the residents of Wicomico County that we're very prepared in our evacuation and our sheltering. What else should they do at home? What should they have at home for an emergency kit if they're not going to shelter, or maybe it's not severe enough that we make the decision to evacuate? So what kind of supply kit should they have at home?
Well, we've talked about it before on the show. It's the 3-day emergency supply kit. Several of the items that are very important to consider is a gallon of water per day for every adult and every child that's in the family, and don't forget your pets, they need to drink also. Non-perishable food is very important, a 3-day supply for everyone, and remember dog food, okay? We want you to have a NOAA weather radio so you can keep abreast of the information that's going on, a first aid kit, flashlights, extra medication, you should have that addressed, and as well as some other things. And again, for a complete, very detailed list, you can go to our website.
Well, that's great information, and some other things that we can let the viewers know. What should they do around their home to prepare? We know that this season happens, and we know that thunderstorms here even in the spring happen, even though we're talking about hurricane. Let's give some examples of what they can do to prep around their home.
One of the biggest things that you have to prep for, we've talked about Know Your Zone, which means that you're talking about tidal surge and storm surge. Well, what now we want to talk about is wind, and that's going to come with the hurricane event or even a tropical storm. And what we need to advise all of our residents to do is prepare their homes by anything that could be a missile, anything that the wind could blow against your house and damage that envelope, you need to secure, put inside. You should make sure that the trees around your home are trimmed. There's no large limbs or even an old tree that could fall on your house. Do that now as we're preparing for the hurricane season, and make sure your gutters are also clean.
And all those things are going to be done now. Do them while the weather is nice.
Do them while the weather's nice and before the storm is breathing down our neck, yes.
So that's great information. So you mentioned earlier about a weather radio. Let's tell the viewers a little bit about what this weather radio does and why they should have it, and explain to them about the battery backup function.
Yes, I mentioned it should be part of everybody's your 3-day kit. It should be part of that, just like a first aid kit. What's good about the NOAA weather radio is it does operate on battery and commercial power, which means if you lose power, you can still be plugged into the information the government is pushing out, which is very important. Remember this too, the radio puts out the emergency alerts. It talks about impending events that could be very catastrophic to you, but it also talks about preparedness information and shares that with you about it. It's where you need to go to find out whether you're going to be possibly in an evacuation area, but you need to have it. We can't promote it enough. I wish every resident in the county had it, and you can go to commercial stores and buy them.
And the Department of Emergency Services, they partner very well with the schools, so we ensure that every school in Wicomico County has one of these radios, and we do follow up to make sure that they are operating.
Yes, we aggressively do it because even outside of a hurricane event, one of the things that would scare us the most and one of the things that gives us the least time to prepare for it is a tornado. And this tornado warning would come across these radios so people could take the appropriate action, because in many cases you only have minutes to deal with a tornado situation.
So that's great information. So we're going to show you a small segment here of how the NOAA weather radio works, and we'll let you see how it works, and then we'll come back and continue more with our conversation today with David Shipley. The great things we'd like to have everybody in Wicomico County have is a NOAA weather radio, and that's activated by the National Weather Service. You can get these radios in your local department stores or radio stores, hardware stores, just about anywhere that's a local store is going to have the weather radios, and they're easy to program, but they're very important. Again, activated by the National Weather Service. That's going to give you weather, warnings, and watches. As you know, on the Eastern Shore, the weather changes very quickly. This weather radio is going to alert you to watches and warnings and allow you to protect yourself, give you time to take personal protective measures. So it's important, again, that all businesses and residents have a weather radio. For additional emergency information, you can look at our county website, www.wicomicocounty.org. Select departments, Department of Emergency Services, and you'll find great information about emergency preparedness. Welcome back to Prepare Wicomico here on PAC 14, and we're continuing our conversations today with David Shipley, the Emergency Services Director for Wicomico County. And we want to finish up our conversations about the weather radio. Very important that we tell our viewers where they can get this NOAA weather radio.
You can go to any commercial establishment, drugstore in the county and buy them. They're very inexpensive, and it's something that you should make an investment to. And if you go to our website, we will even show you how to program it. If you go to the website, there's information on my department's website.
So the other information, we shared information about the NOAA weather radio. We have the ability here in the county to call out. The title is Reverse 911. We actually use a different brand, but calling out, and we need people to register their cell phones. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Yes, if you have a landline, and when we say old landline, we're talking about a handset. The phone company can give you your information, your address, and your location, and we can send that communicator-based message out to you, emergency information, based on that address. And we can draw geographical areas in the county. But unfortunately, the phone carriers do not do that for cell phones. We don't have that kind of information. So for you to receive emergency information pertaining to your location, where you live, and if you only have a cell phone, you must go to our website and register on the cell phone portal that is there. If you go to the website, it'll be in the top left-hand corner of the website. You select that link and it'll prompt you all the way through and how to register one or two of your phones, okay? And it's very important that you do that. Especially if you live along those rivers that I have mentioned so far earlier in the interview. Because now if you have that cell phone, you'll get a phone call from us telling you and providing you information about what your status is there.
And we're very serious about that here in the county, so we do not use that system for any sort of routine messages. If they get that call, it's going to be a call to action from the Emergency Services Department.
Yes, there's truly an emergency, and we want you to take action, right? And we'll give you information, yes.
Yep. And so what we'll do is we'll give the viewers an opportunity to watch a video on how they can register for the cell phone registry. Again, as Director Shipley said, it has links on the DES page. There's also a link on the county government homepage. But let's watch a short video on how to register your cell phone here in Wicomico County. A few things we want to let you know about. One is our communicator system. You need to go to the Wicomico County website, www.wicomicocounty.org. Right on that homepage is sign up for cellular alerts. We need you to do that, and what we do is we activate that system when we need to notify the public of any emergency in the area. We'd use that communicator system for emergency alerts such as missing persons, critical weather information should we have a hazardous materials incident in the area and we want you to shelter in place, which is to stay in your house or your business, or we ask you to evacuate to a certain area. We do not use the communicator system for any sort of generic announcements, advertisements, nor do we disclose the information to outside parties. It is for emergency use only. Again, to register for the communicator system, it's our county website, www.wicomicocounty.org, and click on the link that says sign up for cellular alerts. If you have any difficulty with that, please call our office, 410-548-4820. That was a great video that we showed, so we hope the viewers use that. And again, let's give just a couple examples. You've used that cell phone registry for lost people as well as hurricanes.
That's correct. We may have somebody who has walked off, they may have dementia or something like that. They've been looking for them, and we can, what's good about the program we have, we don't have to do the whole county. We can actually select areas by a little cursor that we do on a map, on a computer screen. It will call people in that area, so we can limit where the call goes out and where it needs to be, place the information. We've helped law enforcement on a number of occasions to locate missing persons.
So for our viewers, that's a great tool to have. We encourage you to please go on the website and register. Again, as Director Shipley said, very serious when this device is used and the software and another tool here in Wicomico County to alert the public of an emergency. So again, we encourage you to sign up. If you have any questions, you can go to the website or you can call the Emergency Services Office, the Emergency Management Division at 410-548-4820, and that staff will assist you and guide you along to register. There's other things that you have available to us. Let's talk a little bit about the media and the website that's available for additional information.
Yes, I would recommend that you go to the website. Again, it's www.wicomicocounty.org/ES. There is a lot of information on there. If you go there now, there's certainly current advisories. There's hurricane preparedness information in detail that we would like there. The subject matters we have covered here today are all on that website. In addition to that, we have the ability now, if you go to the website on the right-hand side, there's two quick links. One, translate the site to Hispaniola, Spanish, and the other is for Haitian Creole. It will actually translate it into that language, the whole website. So those members of our community can get the information directly if they have non-English speaking.
And if for some reason the internet's down, we're always communicating with the press so they can look at local media?
Yes, and one of the things that you want to do in your preparation is what media station and what media outlet would you go to if for some reason that happens. You should have a radio station that you would listen to. Don't forget our No Weather Radio. We want you to do that. That's the most important one. But you should have a radio station as well as a TV station where you would tune to find information.
So a lot of information we've shared today about Pulse Point and about preparedness here for the hurricane season as that rapidly approaches. We encourage you to use the tools that we've provided to you. Please reach out, get a NOAA Weather Radio, register for the cell phone registry, and always visit the website www.wicomicocounty.org/ES to get more information about emergency preparedness here in Wicomico County. David, we thank you again for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us today here on PAC 14 and Prepare Wicomico.
Happy to do it.
Thank you for watching us today on Prepare Wicomico here on PAC 14. We hope you've learned some great information about emergency preparedness. And again, you can always go to that website, wicomicocounty.org/ES, for more emergency preparedness information.